When you start learning an instrument, it can get overwhelming with all of the things to learn. Should you practice exercises? Should you learn songs? All the chaos and the questions swirl until eventually you just lose the motivation to pick up the instrument at all. Well, let me tell you, it doesn't have to be that way. Today we're going to learn one funk bass line that you can apply to all of your practice routines and your playing in any context. Let's go. Before we begin, I want to thank all the new subscribers and the existing subscribers. Thank you to everyone who's been commenting, liking all the videos, and interacting with the channel. The support means so much. I really appreciate it. As usual, if you have any ideas or thoughts on other videos, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you're enjoying this video and bass discussions like this, please like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Throughout your musical career, you're going to come across riffs or motifs or melodies that are used in a lot of different contexts and a lot of different songs. They're not necessarily a song on their own, but you'll find them baked into jams that we all love and songs that we all love. They're ideas that are partly a scale, partly an exercise, and partly a riff. And today we're going to learn a bass line that is very much all three of those things and not quite any of them. They're riffs and ideas that are just out there in the musical atmosphere waiting to be collected and turned into something. The bass line I will show you today is definitely in that category. I'm sure you can go and find 20 songs right after watching this video where these notes appear. But playing it in this way, treating it as your own, learning how to make it your own, and using it as a tool in your arsenal as opposed to a riff or a scale that you learned, is going to give you a new perspective and hopefully something that helps the rest of your bass playing. To start, let me play the bass line or a version of the bass line slowly, and I'll kind of go through each note. Okay, first I'm going to start with the A note on the E string, and then we're going to go to the octave on the D string. And now just to start, just play around with that octave a little bit. Get comfortable doing that. And keep the notes very short and staccato here. Now we're going to add in the 7th scale degree of an A minor scale, which is basically this high G note here. So now we're going to jump back and forth between the octaves and throw in that G, okay? So we'll go. So just keep riffing that. Later we're going to put it into context over some drums. But for now, just get comfortable with it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add a major third, or in this case, a major 10th, because it's going to be an extension on the octave higher from this root of this A minor scale. So that is the major third of this A, just up an octave. So we have the root, octave, 7th, and okay, so as you can see here, we're hammering on from the minor third onto the major third, so which would be just a half step there. And we just really want a little bit of this hammer on, or this sort of like flam sound on that. It definitely adds to the funk, makes it a little bit funkier sounding, but it does pose a bit of an issue harmonically that we can get into later in this video. So with just a few simple notes, we can really do a lot with this bass line. I'll show you a ton of different variations of it, and eventually I want you to play it like an exercise, break it up, do it in different increments, change the order of the notes, etc. So you can really do a lot with just a few notes here, and the one thing that this does create is a strange sort of major-minor combination as we're playing. Now, in some cases, that's going to add to the funk sound, and it's going to give it a little bit of this major-minor push-pull, which is great. But sometimes you're going to want to switch that up. Instead of hammering on from this minor third to a major third, we're going to hammer onto this fourth, which will be a D. Now that we've gone over all the boring stuff, let's play this in a few different contexts. First, I'm going to play something mid-tempo to a live, organic, funky drum sound. Now let's try this in a bit of a down-tempo, hip-hop, lo-fi context. Let's do a bit more of a trap hip-hop beat and see if this kind of classic funk sound holds up in that context. Although this bass line has very distinct qualities, it is very versatile, and it can be played throughout all different genres. It can be played chromatically as an exercise, or it can be played within the context and key of whatever song you're playing. It's a great thing to lean on for jams, especially. Now, when we're learning an exercise, I often try to add some fun and musicality into that exercise. I don't want things to be too rigid or boring. Here, we're gonna kind of do the opposite. Of course, we still wanna keep it fun and musical, but we're gonna try to take this bass line and turn it into a bit more of an exercise, something we can repeat in different tonal centers especially. So we can move it from an A minor major scale to a G minor major scale. And this will get us moving up and down the neck horizontally as well as vertically as we're playing the different notes of the bass line. And then we can work our way into speeding up this exercise. This is really going to help you a lot with jumping strings and keeping focused on the tonal center around where you're playing and the key you're playing in. That's all I have for you today. Learning a bass line like this can give you so much context and give you a tool to use within so many different genres and styles. I highly suggest learning it and turning it into an exercise. Remember, when we're playing exercises and scales, we want to add as much musicality as we can to things, while also showing them in as many different contexts as possible. To me, that's the easiest and most thorough way to actually learn something. It gives us a more well-rounded perspective on the bass line or the exercise itself and shows us so many different places it can be used. To everyone who subscribes to the channel, I really appreciate it. If you like bass videos and discussions like this, please like the video, subscribe to the channel for more, and feel free to leave any thoughts in the comments and ideas for new topics and new bass videos that I should cover in the future. And remember, you don't have to be the best or the fastest bass player in the world. You just have to be funky. Peace.